What is going on, everybody? Happy Mock Draft Monday, and a very special Mock Draft Monday here following the NFL Combine. Obviously, a lot of news and notes to react to, players rising and falling. And for today's mock draft, we're not quite going to have my typical standards in terms of the graphics and all of the editing. I think you'll be okay with it, though, because I'm heading out of town here for the next 3 days, and I committed my time today to getting my top 15 wide receivers video ready to go here. So that is going to be out here on Tuesday, and that's going to have all of your editing goodness. So here we're just going to go face cam and PFF mock draft simulator here, and I have prepped a 33 pick mock draft here with some trades. This is, as I like to do, going to be what I would do, and of course we're going to get some reactions on top of everything to a lot of the stuff we saw here this weekend for the Combine. But with the number one pick, not a whole lot to say. Caleb Williams analysis has been made. Let's not waste anybody's time. Sorry if you're getting bored with it, Bears fans, but it is what it is. We will discuss Justin Fields momentarily, but likewise with the Washington Commanders, I do think it's Drake May. Apparently his interviews were fantastic. I believe it. I think it's a pretty clear 1, 2, let's lock it in, Drake May to the Commanders. But then the Patriots up at number 3, and this is the kind of where the draft starts, right? And I have in the past stayed put and taken Marvin Harrison Jr. I think that's in play. I think you could think about quarterback here, Jaden Daniels for sure. But what I've said is I'd either take the receiver or I would trade down. I want to build the foundation for a future quarterback. I'm not throwing Jaden Daniels or any of these other quarterbacks. If May happened to be here, I think I would stay put and take May. As I said, I think there's a clear 1 and 2 in this draft. But there are more swirlings, it seems, that New England is posturing to maybe move down and do just that, collect some premium picks that can help build the foundation here. And we're going to experiment with that, and I really think this is possible, but I also think it's a great strategy in terms of what I would do here. So the team that we are going to make this trade with, and I don't want to move down too far if I don't have to. I want to stay towards the top so I can still get some premium offensive talent. And the team I'm going to make the decision to move up with is the New York Giants. And this trade is going to be, obviously, 6. We're going to get their second round pick, and then it's going to be a second, fourth round pick swap. So this is a hefty price to pay for the Giants. I'm very curious to see what Giants fans think of this one. So here's going to be your trade. Now, the shocker here, and this is potentially going to throw some people off, but honestly, this is what I would do if I were the Giants. I'm not moving up for Jaden Daniels. I'm going to shock the world here and jump up to make sure I can get one of these receivers, Marvin Harrison or Malik Neighbors. For me, that's Marvin Harrison Jr. So you're paying, again, a second-round pick and another second-round pick, getting that fourth round back. But this team desperately needs playmakers, and these are, in my opinion, the 2 best wide receiver prospects in the last 10 years. They're both sitting here in this draft. I don't want to sit there at 6 and sit around and wait. You got that second-round pick basically for free because the Seahawks overpaid for Leonard Williams, so you're essentially just giving up an extra second, if you can think of it that way, to go get your guy, and then you're giving Daniel Jones a better chance to succeed. But if you go and make a play for a Jaden Daniels or a J.J. McCarthy in the future, which there will be other prospects of that caliber in upcoming draft class, I would certainly bet on that. You are setting this thing up with a potentially elite wide receiver. Like, think of the Vikings having Justin Jefferson there, how much that means and what we've said about what that will mean for even if they drafted Bo Nix or Michael Penix. You're putting yourself in much more of that situation. It's a hefty price to pay, of course, but that's what you pay for premium talent. So curious to see what Giants fans think of that one, and Patriots fans, of course. But the Arizona Cardinals, Malik Neighbors, I'm going to lock this one in. More to come on my wide receiver rankings here tomorrow, but I think the gap between these two is not that significant. I think Malik Neighbors is a very easy pick for the Cardinals. to get their own version of what we just described, but they already have their quarterback. Then the Chargers at 5. I'm going to stick with Joe Alt as the pick here. Just beef up the run game. I love the idea of getting the bookend tackles, right? You've got Rashawn Slater, then you get Joe Alt, you've got your franchise quarterback. I think that's a foundation that can maybe save Quentin Johnston. Like, I feel like people have given up on him a little too quick here. You still got Keenan Allen. We'll see if Mike Evans gets released. There's a bazillion receivers in this draft class. Personally, I've got a significantly higher grade on Joe Alt than I do on a Rome Odunze. And I think Odunze is a little bit more redundant with the existing talent, guys like Keenan Allen and even Joshua Palmer if he's sticking around there. Obviously, Odunze is better than Palmer, but if I'm not getting Harrison or Neighbors, I'm going to probably look O-line for the Chargers. I know people have also discussed Brock Bowers, but that just 5 does just feel a little rich for me when you can get a tackle like Joe Alt, who's a truly special tackle prospect. Then we got the Patriots at number 6. And trading down here, you know, I would have loved if maybe a quarterback came off the board and you could have got either Alt or Neighbors, because I think those are going to be your more blue chip offensive pieces in this draft. I think there's a drop off after those 3 right there. So it does get a little bit harder here. Could certainly think about Brock Bowers, but that's not like a foundational piece, I don't think. I'm actually going to take the surefire pass protecting left tackle. I've finished my Fashanu eval now. I'm totally comfortable with him at 6. He is a rock. Reminds me a lot of like Laramie Tunsil. Just kind of the way he moves and how secure he is in pass protection. And they obviously need that piece. So I'm perfectly happy to get him at 6. Though one of those other 3 would have been a little better. Then the Titans at 7. Don't love the way the board falls here. 2 tackles gone. The top 2 wide receivers gone. You could stay here and take Rome Odunze, but I actually have my eye on someone that would make a lot of sense for this team in a trade down situation. So we are going to get on the phone and see if anybody wants to come up for Jaden Daniel, who is chilling out here. So I'm going to make this move with Jaden Daniel's college coach. There's a lot of connections there with Las Vegas and Antonio Pierce, who had Jaden Daniels in, again, Arizona State. So we are going to trade here with the Raiders, who don't really have much of a plan at quarterback. If I could find them in here. There we go. So the trade here is going to be 7 for 13 and 44. Pretty simple there. You get a second-round draft capital to move down 6 spots. It's a hefty price to pay for the Raiders, but anytime a quarterback is involved, that price is going to be a little bit higher. You would think you could, the Falcons could be threatening to move up and get them in that sort of idea that other teams are on the phone. The Falcons could be willing to come up. The Vikings could be willing to come up. The Broncos in your division could be willing to come up. So to get a quarterback, paying an extra second-round pick really is a small price to pay for the upside of a guy like Jaden Daniels that I think would be a really fun fit. You got Devontae Adams. You've got a defense that's building there. It's a pretty solid situation for Daniels to succeed. So I have heard the feedback from Raiders fans that there's a strong connection there, and I could totally see that. So Titans are going to move down. The Falcons are going to stay put now at number 8, and what we're going to do here is take Dallas Turner. Killed it at the combine. Raheem Morris gets a potentially elite edge rusher. I mean, the dude is a freak. I'm really excited to kind of finish my eval up on him, but I really like what I've seen, and the Falcons have been really electing not to invest in an edge piece like this early in the draft for a while now. Time to go defense there. As far as their quarterback situation in this world, maybe it's a Russell Wilson. It certainly is not ideal for the Falcons here, but I'm not gonna really take Bo Nix or McCarthy here. It feels rich. I'd rather just explore the free agent market. It's probably Russell Wilson in this world, if I'm being honest. Whether he gets cut and you sign him, or you're trading him, 7th round pick, or maybe the Broncos are giving you draft capital to take some of his salary. But we're going to imagine Russell Wilson, I think, in Atlanta here. Chicago Bears up at 9. This is a dream scenario. Rome Odunze, I think I'm much more comfortable with him in that 8, 9, 10 range than I am in the top 6 picks or so. I'll talk more about that in my wide receiver rankings tomorrow, so do make sure you're subscribed for that so you don't miss it. But, man, what a compliment to DJ Moore, who's such a short to intermediate demon. The run after catch, uber athlete, and then you get your kind of vertical guy for Caleb Williams when he gets in a pinch to put it out there for. This, I think, is the dream for the Bears. I think Odunze can be like a Devonta Smith, maybe Jalen Waddle, like one of these, a T. Higgins, like an elite number 2 wide receiver. I don't know that he can be an alpha like all those guys have there, Jamar Chase, the A.J. Brown, the Tyreek Hill. I don't know if Odunze can be that guy. I would bet against that, but getting him to be one of those premium number 2s, absolutely a great way to set up your young quarterback. Then we got the Jets at number 10. This one is a riser for me. Troy Fontenot out of Washington. I love this guy's tape. And if you're the Jets and Alton Fashanu are gone, and you are looking for a piece that can play guard or tackle, but certainly I like him better at tackle, especially after he came in with 34.5-inch arms. If you're looking for that guy that can keep Aaron Rodgers upright, I think he can play left or right. He's talked about his versatility there. With the Jets' needs there, plus, I don't see this as a reach. I've got a true first-round grade on him. I actually like him better than Fuaga personally. I just think we've learned so much about these undersized tackles over the years. I see so much Rashawn Slater in Troy Fontenot's game. I see a lot of Zach Tom. If you want to go a little bit lower down the board, I see a little Luke Goedeke. But these more slender tackles, but that just move so well and are so good with their hands, you want those guys to tackle, not guard. Because that movement space is the best part of their game, and it's going to translate to tackle, especially when Fontenot's got 34.5-inch arms and tested as well as he did. So I really don't think this is a reach. That's my personal opinion. I know some people are going to say that's a massive reach. I just am disagreeing. If I'm the GM of the Jets, if I'm Joe Douglas, I'm going to roll the dice with Fontenot as that piece that we need on that offensive line. Then we got the Minnesota Vikings. Byron Murphy II. If he's there and I'm the Vikings, we're running that card up to the podium. He's a monster. I think he's honestly the best defensive player in this draft class. He stops the run better than he really should at his size. He's got incredible core balance, but his ability to get after the quarterback is insane. The rip move, his bend, and just get off. I love that he's 6'1.5" is like the perfect measurement for him, because no one's going to get under his pads, and he's got that bend and strength and get off. He's going to be a monster, man. So if he's there for the Vikes, that's like a best case scenario. They really need pass rushing help. They need interior D-line help. Love that one. All right, Broncos fans, one of these days we're going to change it, but that day's not going to be today. Bo Nix, I've talked about this fit, his consistency to play within structure. He is my QB4. He's the best quarterback on the board for Denver, and I just think you gotta. I don't even want to say bite the bullet, because that just feels like you're conceding that he's not going to be that great. I think he can be sort of a Brock Purdy, Jalen Hurts caliber quarterback if things go right here. You got receivers. I think the O-line's pretty good. You got Sean Payton, obviously. I think Bo Nix can step in right away and let that offense roll. You get that cheap rookie contract to get yourself out of the Russell Wilson mess. So I really think that's what the direction the Broncos got to go. Then the Titans, who traded down. I said we've got a plan here. And this one, he is a riser. Not just because of what he did at the Combine, where he's an absolute freak, but I got through his tape, and I really like Amarius Mims, man. We're going to take him for the Titans. So some people have said the Titans don't need to go O-line because they brought in Callahan, the offensive line coach, and he can kind of make chicken stew out of chicken shit, or whatever the saying is, chicken salad out of chicken shit. Well, why not give him you know, the I don't know, man, the golden clam that you open up and get the diamond, whatever. Like, why not give him a fine piece of moldable clay that with his coaching can take Amarius Mims and turn him into an elite tackle? But I want to reiterate, I've gotten through his tape. I don't think he's a raw player. He's really good with his hands. He's good in the run game. He's pretty good with his feet. He doesn't have a lot of live reps. So there's, of course, going to be some learning moments there, but you're comfortable with learning moments if you're Tennessee. So I think if, you put Amarius Mims in this situation with Bill Callahan, arguably the best offensive line coach in the league, which was an underrated aspect of them getting Brian Callahan, as his dad Bill was going to come over from the Browns, and look what he's done for that Browns O-line. Look what he did with a guy like DeJuan Jones, who stepped in right away and played well as a rookie last year. I think you put Mims in that situation, he could be a better player than the two tackles that went ahead of him here in time in Fatnu and Fashanu. So that was my plan with the Titans, and we got some pretty major draft capital to getting that extra second round pick in a great wide receiver class to go and attack some weaponry there in the second round for our guy Levis. Then the Saints up at 14. Watching Jared Verse, he just screams Saints, man. He's that classic, big, strong-edged power rusher that they love. They've really missed at this position. This, I do think, is their biggest need. Cam Jordan's regressing. They haven't hit on some of these guys. So if he's there at 14, he really just seems like their type, and they should just stay put and take him and help that defense get to some new heights next year under Dennis Allen, who I still think is a great defensive coach. Then we got the Indianapolis Colts at 15. Someone I think solidified himself with some pretty massive draft stock there with his workout in Indianapolis, Brian Thomas Jr. Look, we know the Indianapolis Colts are some RAS score lovers out there, and Brian Thomas, I think he's one of 3 wide receivers over 205, like over 6'2" and 205 pounds. He's one of 3 wide receivers ever to run a 4.33, but his tape is fantastic. Again, look out for that wide receiver breakdown tomorrow. But on top of that, he's a missing piece for this offense. You've got your underneath threat in Josh Downs. Of course, I think Michael Pittman, you bring him back, you tag him, you find a way to get him back. He is your kind of X guy. And then you've got your Z in Brian Thomas to run that kind of DK Metcalf route tree here. Love the fit. Pairing him with Anthony Richardson and that arm. This is... I'm ready to say this is one of the more likely picks in the top 15 because I think he'll be there, and I think the Colts are going to love him as like a just way better version of what they thought they were getting 2 years ago in Alec Pierce. All right, Seahawks are up. I've made this pick before. I'll make it again. Brock Bowers, if he starts to slip, the Seahawks don't have that many needs. You're thinking about interior offensive line. You could go with Jackson Powers-Johnson. I could get behind that pick, but look, Brock Bowers is a special talent. You get a chance to put him in there with DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Walker. They are losing Noah Fant and Colby Parkinson, by the way. All they have is Will Dissly, their blocking tight end. Brock Bowers is just another handful for opponents to deal with. I just think the value's too good and it fills a need, and this is kind of what they've done is just load up on playmakers. Why stop now? Then we got the Jacksonville Jaguars at 17. At this point, I think Quinyon Mitchell has become too good of a player to pass up here. Other teams have had other needs and gone elsewhere. Mitchell made a very strong case that he is cornerback 1, especially when Nate Wiggins, got injured in his workout, and that's going to be a question on him. So for him to not be able to get through that workout, I think was potentially more costly than him running a 4.2 940 helped him. But man, Mitchell's impressive. He can do everything. They need cornerback help in Jacksonville. They really do. I obviously like Darius Williams, but Tyson Campbell is coming up on a contract, had a massive down year, so you've got instant competition for Quinyon Mitchell. You have Trey Herndon in the slot. Like, I think you can upgrade there, whether that's Mitchell in the slot or kicking one of those other guys inside. But this fills an immediate need, a long-term need, and it's just a good best player available, not passing on the talent when, some of these guys that you might have wanted here, like Brian Thomas or Fatnu or Mims, have gone. I'd rather take, the best player available at a relative need than reach for a guy that is a bigger need, Then we got the Bengals at 18. And for Cincinnati, we are going to take Talise Fuaga, the right tackle. I don't think I'm quite as high on Fuaga as the kind of consensus as like a top 10 pick. I like him a lot as a run blocker, as a pass blocker. I'm not sold that he's going to be a great pass protecting tackle in the league, but in this system where it's very much a head-up blocking scheme nowadays, much more of a shotgun spread style inside zone power blocking scheme, I really like that fit for Fuaga. And you got a couple maulers now with Orlando Brown and Talise Fuaga. And you got a quarterback that's going to be really efficient at stepping up. Tom Brady is, him and Joe Burrow, very similar, like pocket presence and ability to kind of just step up and seal that corner by themselves in a lot of ways with their movement inside the pocket. That's why they can have a guy like Orlando Brown. And I think Fuaga, likewise, it's going to have a complementary effect. It's not like if he's stepping up in the pocket, it's not like it only helps the left tackle. It helps the right tackle too, just to help seal that corner. So I think it's a good fit stylistically and good value. Then we got the Rams up at 19. We're going to go Laiatu Latu. I just did a film breakdown of him on my Patreon if you want to check it out. But I liked Mike Renner's analysis of this when he made this pick in our mock draft with him, where the Rams are a team that they aren't necessarily like a big RAS, like draft the freaky athletes type. They want football players, and that's Laiatu Latu is like the most polished freaking pass rusher I've seen in a long time. So many different counters and ways to beat guys. His pass rush production, he's led all of college football 2 straight years in pass rush win rate. I don't think he's going to get to the NFL and just have a drop off there. So he's starting to slip at this point. I think the Rams are more than happy to add him to the mix, where now you got all of a sudden you have flipped this thing around. You got Aaron Donald, Kobe Turner, Byron Young doing his cleanup work, and Laiatu Latu kind of getting in there, causing pressure. This could be a massive upgrade, adding that piece right away, too, for a team that's looking to make a leap next year. Then we got the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 20. This is where I'm going to take Nate Wiggins. I am worried about the kind of the girth, I guess, for lack of a better term, the durability. I don't know what it is with these Clemson corners lately that just can't stay healthy, but I'm willing to risk it with Nate Wiggins. And the Steelers showed last year that they are not afraid of taking risks. They took some injury risk guys last year, like Darnell Washington. They did it with a different corner in, was it Corey Trice, I believe. But, yeah, I mean, Wiggins, if you could guarantee me health, I could see him being the best corner in this draft class. He reminds me a lot of Jair Alexander, but he's even longer. We saw the 40 time. Like, this dude is an insane athlete. His tape is damn good. So I'm willing to risk it there at 20. Reminds me a little bit of Caleb Farley, but I don't think the injury risks are as significant as Caleb Farley's were coming out of Virginia Tech. Then we got Miami Dolphins at number 21. And we're going to have some fire here, guys. Honestly, I don't know how realistic this is, but I'm going to put this in here to get your guys' feedback on if this is a good pick or not. And this is honestly what I would do with how the board has fallen for them. I'm going to take J.J. McCarthy. Train him for a year and let Tua go, as long as we like what we see from McCarthy. I actually think McCarthy fits this offense really well. I think what we saw at Michigan is he is good at attacking the middle of the field, playing on time, trusting the structure of the offense. Love that fit for him. Obviously love pairing him with McDaniel. I think he's got just significantly more athletic tools than Tua. He's faster. He's got a stronger arm. I think he will let you unlock. Well, first off, he's got to learn how to better throw the deep ball, which not a much better guy to watch, honestly, if you just want mechanics on how to throw the deep ball than Tua. McCarthy has the arm talent. He's not a particularly inaccurate guy. It's just his deep ball, and we saw a little bit of this at the Combine. I just think he needs more reps throwing the deep ball. He didn't really do it at Michigan, and I think he just needs to better understand like kind of how to arc it, where to place it, and with more reps, which he'll get here, that can come along. And even what we've seen with Tua is you don't necessarily need the deep ball to be successful in this offense. So for the Dolphins, who are entering cap hell, the last thing I want to do is give Tua Tagovailoa $50 million. I'm ready to let him go. I want to be the first team here. Well, I can't say the first team, but like, just if you're McDaniel, trust the system. Trust that you can do this with a different quarterback. I really don't know that Tua is someone that you need to pay if you're Miami. And I think McCarthy is a fantastic fit in this situation at the 21st pick. It's not that much to risk to go make this move. So yeah, I'm very curious what people think about that one. It's a little spicy, but it's honest. It's really the direction I would go here. All right, the Philadelphia Eagles up at number 22. And this is going to be Terrion Arnold. Admittedly, I still haven't gotten to the tape. I'm going to do that while I'm out of town here the next couple days, but I know people love him. Loved his personality at the Combine. Haven't seen any reason to believe that he shouldn't be one of the first 24, 25 picks in the draft. Eagles need a corner. It's kind of, we'll go best corner available with this pick. We're going to go Terrion Arnold there. Then the Houston Texans at number 23. Jer'Jon Newton. Mike Renner made this pick in our draft, and I have fallen in love with it. He is exactly what they need on that D-line. You've got your edge pieces, but they need interior guys. A guy that can move laterally and rush the passer. It's very similar to some of the guys that DeMeco Ryans has had in San Francisco to get some of the interior pressure. Guys like DeForest Buckner and Eric Armstead. Really big fan of Newton in this situation, and it's a scheme that protects smaller defensive tackles because of the way they kind of slant their run game, and that's kind of Newton's weakness, is anchor and ability to hold up against the run. So fantastic fit. And then the Cowboys up at 24. Jackson Powers Johnson is going to come off the board now. They have Tyler Biadasz is a pending free agent. I think we just got to keep replenishing the O-line. It sounds like Tyron Smith is going to hit the market, so Tyler Smith might be kicking out to tackle. It's a huge need for Dallas, and this is one of the best players available at this point. So pretty easy pick to go JPJ there. And then very easy pick for the Packers at 25. If Cooper DeJean is here, he is everything they need, whether that's an outside corner, a slot corner, or a safety. I think he can do it all. And I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. We've seen this in a lot of mock drafts, but I will just reiterate that I love that fit as much as the next guy if he's there. Then for the Tampa Bay Bucks at number 26, tough to kind of pick here. I'm going to think wide receiver. We'll see what Mike Evans does. But Chris Godwin there, those guys are getting up there in age. I don't think they're going to be there forever. I don't think this team has a bunch of glaring needs at positions of value at this point. So I'm not going to say it's a luxury pick, but I do think you kind of just go best player available if you're the Bucks. It's a little, like Chop Robinson entered my mind here. I wouldn't mind it, but you already kind of took a super freak in Yaya Diaby. Let's just kind of see where he goes. So I'm going to just try to maximize on the best player available, which is going to be taken from this wide receiver crop. And we're going to take a gamble here on Adonai Mitchell, where you've got two incredible mentors, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. He can start for you from the slot. I know that Trey Turner did some stuff for you, but I mean, come on, he's not a Donnie Mitchell. Just had a freaky workout. I think solidified himself most likely in the first round because someone is going to look at him as a potential alpha. And yeah, I mean, if not like for the future, it also is just great to have another piece in there with Baker Mayfield or whoever your quarterback is. Again, more of a best player available pick, but I certainly think wide receivers in play for them. Then we got the Cardinals up at 27. I'm going to take J.C. Latham here, beef up that old line. They have some tackles. You don't know if any of them are like long-term plans, but they really need guards. Personally, I actually like Latham better as a guard. I'm willing to try him and fail him at tackle, but I think he's one of these guys that really can be like a potentially elite guard, but probably not like a great tackle. I just don't love his foot speed and his get off. So I'm going to give him a situation like we've seen from some other teams where we're going to play him at guard in year one. They even thought about doing that with Paris Johnson last year until I think it was a Kelvin Beachum injury opened the door at right tackle there. But we're going to put Latham probably at left guard. And if we eventually want to move on from DJ Humphrey and we like what we see from Latham, he can probably go to right tackle and we'd move Paris back to left. But this is going to give you flexibility. In general, I think he fits the O-line really well. Then we've got the Buffalo Bills up with the 28th pick, and I think the league is afraid of this combination right here. Xavier Worthy. I have a feeling Trevor is going to be raising him up the PFF draft simulator here pretty soon. Breaks the 40-yard dash record. I think has clearly cemented himself ahead of Troy Franklin, which is a popular draft pick here. You pair this speed in an offense that creates a lot of space for these guys. He is to say he's a supercharged Gabe Davis is selling this thing short. Like, you pair this with Josh Allen, the strongest arm in the league, you could get legitimate fireworks out there in Buffalo. I think they could even trade up to make this happen, honestly. Like, we could see Buffalo come up, identify this as the last missing piece for this offense, and move up with Miami at 21 or, somebody to go up and make this happen because it's such a good fit for them right there. Then we got the Detroit Lions at pick 29, and you still got Kool-Aid McKinstry sitting there. It reminds me a little bit, and I'm going to be grinding the Alabama corner tape, but I have seen 2 games of Kool-Aid. He's not quite Pat Surtain, but the narrative around him reminds me a little bit of what happened with Pat Surtain, where J.C. Horn got pushed above him in that draft class. Good job, Carolina front office. You were fantastic. Definitely didn't deserve to get fired. But with Surtain, it's like his tape was so good that people got bored of him, and he wasn't like this incredible athlete. So, I thought he was a blue chip top 5 player in that draft, and turns out he was. I'm not saying that as Kool-Aid, but he's just not this exciting athlete, but he's so consistent in press. He's physical. He's smart. Screams Detroit Lion to me. I think it's a great value there at 29, and you rush that pick into the podium. Baltimore Ravens at pick 30. We are going to struggle with this draft pick. I sat here and thought about this one, but I'm actually going to do this again, if nothing else, to make a point here. The fact that we got to scroll down this far for Trey Benson blows my mind. He's one of the more underrated players I've seen in a long time doing this for the draft. I have the same grade on Trey Benson that I did on Jahmyr Gibbs coming out. And we saw where he went. Trey Benson comes out, runs a 4.39. I don't get it. I really don't. I think this is a potentially elite running back in the NFL as long as the medicals check out. And when I look at the board, the one guy I thought about was Tyler Guyton. I'm souring on Tyler Guyton a little bit. I am. He only ran 5.17 or something. It certainly wasn't this ridiculous workout that has been advertised. His tape's not good. He got hype at the Senior Bowl, but was getting beat a lot. He is a 4th-year player, not a 3-year player. I would rather take the potentially elite running back for the team that kind of desperately needs a great running back in Baltimore than a developmental tackle. It's close. Make a case to take Tyler Guyton, but he's really the one guy based on the board that I really was otherwise considering. So, yeah, I know it's probably not going to be the most popular pick, but if this is me, like I really think this is the best way to help our football team next year and just have an elite run game. I mean, their running backs have been legitimately mediocre for a while now. It's time to refill that room, and they can't count on Keaton Mitchell to stay healthy either, unfortunately. Then for the 49ers here, I know this is going to sound really counterintuitive for everything I just said about Tyler Guyton. I do think it's a different situation, though. The Niners are kind of the perfect spot because they are that wide zone move blocking scheme. That's not really Baltimore. Baltimore is going to be more of a head-up blocking scheme. So if you're looking for that athlete move blocker type, and the Niners, their play action really helps their pass protectors and protects them as well, because a lot of their pass sets are going to look like run sets, look and feel like run sets. So I do think there's a big difference schematically speaking there. You also have a former Oklahoma future Hall of Fame freak athlete on the other side of the line, Trent Williams, to help you along. I think that matters. So you look at the scheme, you look at it honestly being a bigger need for the Niners tackle with Colton McKivitz. It's a bigger need than the Ravens, where you do still have Moses, you do still have Stanley. I don't think you have to rush to get a project in there in the first round. But for the Niners, I do think it makes a lot more sense. I know if you didn't listen to the reasoning, you're going to be like, why didn't you just take him at 30? But I hope it made sense there. Then for the Kansas City Chiefs at 32. Struggled with this one, man. A lot of the receivers I'd like to see here have come off the board. We're going to be talking about Troy Franklin in my wide receiver video tomorrow. It's way too early for me to take Troy Franklin. I am going to take Keon Coleman here. Get you that big-bodied perimeter receiver that they don't have here. I'm going to kind of hope that with Rashee Rice doing some underneath stuff, you still got Kelsey. Maybe Sky Moore can get healthy and be some bit of a slot weapon for you, but you just don't have outside players. They just cut MVS. I think maybe they do sign someone in free agency, potentially, or like double dip in this wide receiver class. Maybe they can get Troy Franklin at the end of the second round or someone comparable. But I do still kind of believe in Coleman. I hate to keep saying this, but keep an eye out for that wide receiver video tomorrow. We'll get more on him and why he might be a really nice fit here. But let's get this Panthers pick in at number 33. And this is going to be a common one, right? Ladd McConkey. The Panthers can't screw this one up. I think Ladd is an incredibly high floor wide receiver. I can't see the highest floor wide receiver in this class because Marvin Harrison exists, but he's up there, man. And, just the separation ability that he's going to bring for Bryce Young, just to have that comfort level of like, when the ball is snapped, Bryce isn't going to have to panic because he's got a guy that's going to come in and be able to separate right away. It's a safety valve in a way, not in like a big Y tight end, big body to throw it to, but a safety valve mentally to know everything's going to be okay out there. We've got guys getting open. So I really think he's the perfect fit. I think he can play inside and out. I think he can do some fun stuff with him and Adam Thielen. They're both kind of like inside out white dudes, obviously, but like, one's a bigger sort of crafty guy at this point in his career. One's this route running slot guy. I think you can do some creative stuff here to really make the most of that combination there. So we're going to wrap it up there with another Ladd McConkey pick to the Panthers. So the next mock draft will have the graphics and the highlights and all the grades. It'll have my grades. But I did want to get this up with the combine. I was short on time, so I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Thank you so much for watching. Again, look out for that top 10 wide receiver video dropping tomorrow. It's going to be, I would say, probably one of the best videos we do for draft here leading up to 2024 NFL draft. So make sure you subscribe for all that stuff. Thank you for watching. We'll see you later. Peace out.